And if we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Folks, I will ask people to either turn off their phones or turn them on silent. Council members, please make sure that phones are off. Also, please make sure that your microphone light is on green. City Clerk Domingo, will you take roll call first, please?
Councilmember Williams.
Present.
Reed.
Here.
Jackson.
Here.
Lawler. Davis.
Here.
French.
Here.
And Mayor Snyder.
Here. Do I have a motion to approve of our agenda?
So moved.
Support.
Any additions, deletions, changes deemed necessary? City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
French.
Yes.
And Mayor Snyder.
Yes. So for this meeting, we do not have any presentations or recognitions, no public hearing, public comment. If there's anybody in the gallery that would like to stand and address council in regards to an agenda item, you have the opportunity to do so at this time. Just need to state your name and address, and 3 minutes is yours. Do we have anybody else? All right. In your in your agenda, we have the consent calendar items. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Support.
So we have our July 18th study session minutes, July 18th regular session minutes. There's a motion and support. Any questions, comments, additions, deletions? City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Reed.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
French.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
And Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Items for individual discussion. First item is to approve the 2022-26 Comprehensive Master Plan.
So
So
moved.
moved. Support. All is well.
All right, City Manager Snyder.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Director Arnold. If you would like to just join me at the stand, I'll give a kind of an overview. So the city, we released a formal request for proposals to update our current 5-year comprehensive master plan, to hire a consultant to assist us in that process. Back on July 8th, 2021. The council approved proposal received from Beckett and Rader at the August 16th regular council meeting. A formal steering committee was established, including members from the city's planning commission, as well as a few members from city council, to guide and review the updating process with Beckett and Rader. So the steering committee, they reviewed and discussed the goals identified in the current comprehensive plan. They reviewed and approved the community engagement efforts that were conducted as part of the comprehensive plan planning process, which we provided 4 different avenues of engagement: a community survey, a youth engagement session, a stakeholder survey, and a community visioning session to kind of gather that feedback on what the city or residents would like to see in the next 5 years in our formal comprehensive master plan. The Michigan Planning Enabling Act requires that once the draft plan is complete, it shall be distributed for a 63-day review period, public review period. So the Planning Commission approved the draft plan for public release on April 19th, following by the City Council on May 2nd. So the 63-day review period ended on July 5th of this year. The Albion Planning Commission, they held their formal public hearing on the draft plan to formally adopt it at their last regular meeting, which was July 19th. And the commission approved a recommendation to the Albion City Council for approval of the comprehensive master plan. Included in your package just kind of an outline of that process, as well as a memo from the consultant firm that we work with, just kind of outlining, because I know council, we received feedback from a former council member and resident just wanting to see changes in that. So just wanted to point that memo out. I hope you all had a chance to review what was included in that process. And Director Arnold, please feel free to add in if I have missed it.
I think that is a good timeline of it. Right now, our current plan expired in February of this year. Now, I talked to this folks that we're working with at the MEDC. We're not in trouble for that at all. That's fairly standard, but it's time for this. So unless there are substantial changes that you'd like to see, our recommendation is approval. And any future changes that you would like to see along the way, we'd be more than happy to make.
And I just want to reiterate kind of what we said in the study session. We view this as a working document. So moving forward, Director Arnold and my office, we will be making quarterly reports to the Planning Commission to kind of review the progress on the goals that have been identified in the comprehensive plan, with a formal yearly report made to the City Council on the status of accomplishing those identified goals. So this is not set in stone. We can always amend it, because as we move along, priorities will move up, things will change in priority, and we just want to make sure that we are listening to our residents and including any potential project or new goal in our comprehensive plan, because this, essentially this document opens us to different grant opportunities. So making sure that we have up-to-date priorities in our plan is very important in taking advantage of some of those resources as they become available.
Do we have any questions for our city manager?
I don't have a question, but as my bedtime reading for 3 nights in a row, it seems to be very comprehensive, and a lot of the items that we've been talking about through the years, at least they are addressed in the plan. So hopefully this will be a working document that we can get a lot of things accomplished within the next 5 years.
Absolutely, and I think one of the goals of the steering committee in updating our current plan was to make it more user-friendly and to all of our residents and potential developers, organizations. So you will see, compared to our previous comprehensive plan, there are a lot more graphs, tables, charts, instead of just strictly words. So we try to really make it more attractive to our residents as well as other developers, and really kind of make it user-friendly and easy to navigate through.
Also a good 40 pages shorter.
Yes.
Pictures worth 1,000 words.
All right, any other questions or comments for either Director Arnold or our city manager? City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Jackson,
Yes.
Davis,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Next, do I have an approval, a motion to approve the 2022-26 Albion Economic Development?
So moved.
Support.
And we do have Amy DePrez with us this evening, who is our current president. Yep. So Amy, if you would like to say a few words on the process for our strategic plan.
Yeah, so thank you for having me today and looking at this document. For those that were here back in 2016, 2017, some of you, we did this process back then with the city. So the city went through their master plan or their comprehensive plan. At the same time, the economic development went through their Albion Economic Development Strategic Plan. So it was time to redo that. We wanted to do it in connection with the city and be able to use some of those same functions of getting the public input and not having to recreate the wheel. Many of the goals that we saw in 2017 exist today. They're still going to be goals. So what you see in your document for the AEDC, which is an abbreviated way of saying our strategic plan, is goals that the community has. So it's not just economic development, it's the cities listed in there, the college may be listed in there, or others like the DDA or the chamber. So it's a comprehensive look at what the community is doing to meet those economic goals that are outlined in your comprehensive plan. So the goals are, downtown and reuse of those properties, housing, jobs, and corridors. The document outlines different metrics and goals for that. It's not as City Manager Snyder said, it's not a document that's just going to remain stagnant. You know, we can add to it. With this document, the EDC still does annual planning. So we take a look at where we want to be in those next 5 years, and we might make annual goals specific to some of those. But you also note in this document, it indicates which ones are a little bit more near term, where we want to see something happen in the first 2 years versus the 5-year period. So this process started about the same time as the city. We had a stakeholder meeting in December, steering committee meetings, several, and we utilized the AC3, and I'm going to draw a blank on what that stands for, but the group at the college, we had a group.
College collaborative.
Thank you. We used a group of students there to help us with this document and our input. So they also helped with the youth session and things like that. So it was a good opportunity to work with the college on that. But the document in front of you has been approved at the EDC level. In order for us to be competitive for MEDC incentives for reuse of the buildings and for job growth, we need to have updated plan both at the comprehensive level and the EDSP. So we're asking for your approval of this document.
Do we have any questions for Mr. Prez?
Amy, does Albion have an incubator now for new businesses?
It doesn't. We don't have the food incubator anymore, and we don't have the business incubator. But the time that we sold the business incubator building to Sinclair, there was a comment made at council that we can maybe set that money aside and look at that as an option in the future. I don't know that ever actually happened. It's always been kind of a standing item when it's appropriate. I don't support it right now because workforce is so tight. You know, the idea of an incubator is really kind of like getting some pre-sales or selling Albion for an industrial growth opportunity at maybe a sales stage. So the sales office would come and set up in an incubator, do that kind of, you know, getting the customers that they would have. And then if they prove successful, they would go onto a manufacturing facility. So that model works really well, and we could use like an office space, but the environment right now is too tight for us to be able to really be competitive for that. In the future, absolutely. And one of the things that Dream Build Rise was kind of steering towards was like a smaller incubator for entrepreneurship, where you could be shared space, some of the equipment that you need, things like that. So it's on the horizon, but we don't currently have an active one.
Any other questions for either Amy or our city manager? Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Davis,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Motion to approve the amendment to Calhoun County Consolidated Dispatch Authority Interlocal Agreement.
So moved.
Support.
City Manager Snyder?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So the Calhoun County Consolidated Dispatch Authority was formed. It consists of the following contributing jurisdictions: City of Albion, City of Battle Creek, City of Marshall, City of Springfield, and Calhoun County. The organization was formed back in 2010. So the original interlocal agreement identified a funding level to continue to fund and maintain the authority's MERS retirement fund. However, over time, there's been changes over the last 5 years, in maintaining a 95% funding ratio is not sustainable without a significant increase to the contributing jurisdictions. So the authorities director kind of reached out to the contributing jurisdictions. We started having these conversations on what it would look like to increase those contributions, probably I would say mid to late spring. We have come up with a solution to that, and there have been changes to the original interlocal agreement to make those amendments. Everything else within the interlocal agreement will remain the same. So I'm happy to share the new contributor breakdown per jurisdiction is based on the current calls for service. So the city of Albion, actually, we saw a decrease from our original contribution from 8.8% to 7.63%, which I think would be good news for the city. However, there were some other jurisdictions that saw an increase, but I can say for the city of Albion that we will see a slight decrease. And through this changes, we are able to accomplish that the liabilities were recalculated to reflect current calls for service, reducing the MERS retirement minimum funding ratio from 95% to an 80%. And it will also create a new MERS retirement surplus division with a minimum annual contribution of $10,000 by the CCCDA, so by the actual dispatch authority. So that kind of is not a burden to the contributing jurisdictions. So we are bringing it to the formal governing body to approve this amendment to the interlocal agreement so that they can move forward with this change to fund the MERS retirement through the authority. Happy to answer any questions. The deputy director from the dispatch authority is here to answer any questions that you may have as well.
Any questions or comments for City Manager Slater? Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Davis,
Yes.
French,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Motion to approve the City of Albion Park rules.
So moved.
Support.
City Manager Slater.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So the city's Recreation Advisory Commission, they've been working to review and update this, the current park rules for all of the city parks. Unfortunately, we received a lot of complaints and know there have been issues in a lot of our park spaces, so they felt it was time to update the rules that govern our park spaces. So the commission, they approved a recommendation to City Council to update the park rules at their July 12th meeting. Including in your packet is an updated list of what those rules would be. The city attorney, his office has reviewed the updated regulations, and city administration just recommends approval of the proposed park rules for all city parks. I just want to note that through the Blueprint for a Better Albion, the donation that was given to the Community Foundation to update all of 13 different projects in our community, in our park spaces, there are funds available to update signage within the park. So we will utilize funds from that donation to update all of our park signs in each park space to kind of identify and highlight the park rules. Happy to answer any questions, and I believe we do also have two commission members, Councilmember Reed and Councilmember French, if you would like to weigh in or provide any other information.
Are you on the park rules?
Yeah.
Yes.
They're good.
Councilman French?
Yeah, so this is a project that Councilwoman Reed sort of took the lead on as we were trying to come up with rules to address some of the concerns in our parks, and she made a marvelous recommendation, which is a good one in that we took a look at park rules throughout the state of Michigan, looking for common rules that would apply to what we were hoping to, and so being able to marry some of the best practices and policies of other parks and other cities, we came up with this set of 15 rules. So my hat's off again to Councilman Reed for really taking the lead on this.
Any other questions or comments? City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember French.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm just looking at number 6 and considering what has happened during the past couple of weekends, in the park in terms of firearms and things like that. What is the penalty in terms of the discharge of firearms within the parks?
So this is fireworks.
Number 10.
Oh,
Number 10.
Yeah, number 10.
Oh,
Okay.
Firearms, yeah.
Firearms, yeah.
so the question is,
Is
what is the
there,
penalty?
what is the penalty? Oh,
Attorney Harkins?
So under our, the ordinance that applies, a discharge of a firearm would be a misdemeanor punishable by up to 93 days in jail, up to $500 in fines, or both.
more than likely, they still all fall under the discharge of a firearm within city limits too, right?
We have that ordinance that applies citywide, and this one is specific to parks. Either one could be applied, though.
Will this is something that maybe should be published, in the newspaper, or so read at least, because people, I didn't know the first thing that, people can say, so visibility in publishing these rules may be very much needed.
Any other comments? Any Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember French.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Davis.
Yes.
Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Motion to approve Resolution 2022-26 to support the request of $200,000 from the Albion Trust to support Victory Park Ice Arena and Ketchum Field improvements.
So moved.
Support. Councilman French, do you want to take the lead?
Sure. So as part of the ongoing requirement to provide matching funds for the gift that we received that was just mentioned, I'm not sure what the name of it is. It's a
Blueprint for a better.
Blueprint for a better Albion. There is that match requires close to $1 million, if not $1 million in matching funds. I've been told by the director of the community foundation that receipt of $200,000 from the Albion Trust will be leveraged by another $100,000 from a private donor. These improvements to the Victory Park Ice Arena as well as Ketchum Field are to catch some of the things and the ideas that have been presented to the community over the past couple of years, specifically the Victory Park Ice Arena. There's a desire from Play It Right Basketball to create a covered basketball pavilion. So the hanging of movable nets so they can be lifted up out of the way for other events, perhaps a resurfacing of the surface of concrete so that it's more amenable to basketball, but still allow for the flooding of that facility in the winter so that people can skate. So those sorts of improvements have been suggested. This approval process does not set those ideas into stone. That would be done at a later time, but just to release these funds to help provide matching dollars for the gift grant. Ketchum Field is a very popular park, and the improvements to that field will allow for increased recreation in those parks, whether it be baseball or softball or soccer. So thus the resolution. Thank you.
Yes, Councilwoman Reed.
I've looked at this and I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. So I went out and I was looking at the different areas. Now you've got McCall Park where the walking trail is going through now. That has another nice big area that used to be a baseball field too. And it's got room for parking and it's got a bathroom there. By the way, has the bathroom been fixed yet?
That I don't know, I can check with Director Director Miller on that.
Because I was told by some people a couple of weeks ago that the bathrooms were still not workable and haven't been since last year. So I was just wondering, because there's bathrooms there, nice bathrooms, they were put in by the, what is that? Can't remember. Elfrida, the group that she works with, had put in new bathrooms out there about 4 years ago. And that field is much bigger, much nicer, with better parking. Then I also was wondering about, because I went out to Ketchum Field. It's enclosed, and plus the cars from the building across the street where they make the installation, they park there. And I was looking at it. The bathrooms are evidently not working because they've got the kind that you rent to use standing there and things like that. And it's too close up to, too enclosed, because you've got the other part right over from it is where the armory used to be. So I was thinking if it was some place that was more open, you've got, and they also, because my kids played t-ball at Victory Park, Down at the end, right down as you come down the Snow Hill across the street, you got that big area there that was a baseball field. And then you've also got the one out at McCullough Park that I would consider more getting ready for baseball, because both of them are already pretty well set for that, then I would go to Ketchum. And then I'm just wondering, with the basketball, with the pavilion out at the Victory Park, is that ever going to be able to be used as an ice skating rink? Since it's been there, it hasn't been. So is it going to be fixed to where it can be used for ice skating rink or what?
So part of the 13 projects that have been identified, and they were identified by the donor who gave this gift to the community foundation, it includes Ketchum Field and specifically the improvements to the pavilion. That would include a new roof, redo the wall structure, and I believe the issue with it not being an ice skater, there was issues with freezing, maintaining the ice to be frozen, that they would have to constantly go back out and refill it. It's just not feasible to continue to hold that ice within that arena. So those are both projects that have been identified in this, in that gift to the community foundation. I will say Ketchum Field, it is currently used by Playwright Academy. That's where they play t-ball. And a part of the improvements, they would receive a complete renovation to Ketchum Field, which means new scoreboard, new bleachers, dugouts, the bathroom facilities, all of that would be upgraded. And that has already been identified in the projects that were selected when the donor had made this donation to the community foundation.
So, and I think kind of what Councilman French had mentioned was that they would want to use these funds to leverage it, a different donor who is willing to help match. So kind of keeping with the blueprint, those were the areas that were.
I just think those other two fields offer much more than that one.
Councilman French?
Councilman Newt, I may agree with you. I think one of the things that's exciting about the patch is that if this $200,000 is approved for Victory Park and Ketchum Field, the extra $100,000 is not designated to these two places, so that we could still do both and. So it's not saying that we're going to abandon one of the projects that you think is a good idea, which I agree. I mean, the more fields that we put out in our parks, the better it is. The closer people are, the parking issue is certainly something I agree with. So I'm not opposing your idea at all. I just think that in terms of this particular resolution, us approving gets us $300,000, which gets us much closer to our target of matching the $1 million that we got as a gift. So that's the purpose. So we're not making a decision about where the funding is going to go specifically. It's a decision that's basically matching what the donor wants, but then providing additional dollars to help expand that vision that he had for our parks and our city.
Well, I say, since this has named these two places as being the park, I would not want to put $200,000 into that, because there's better areas. And I'm thinking about them the same as I am the parks, because we had 18 parks listed in Albion. Who needs 18 parks in a city our size? If you really fix up 3 or 4, you've done well. You know, it's going to accommodate the children, because as they say, Albion is a retirement destination. And so I would just rather see that money not taken out and used like that. And maybe then someone, if he doesn't want to do that, then maybe someone else would want to, and pick out places that's going to be more useful for a longer length of time.
Any other questions or comments? City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Williams,
No.
Reed,
No?
Jackson,
No.
Davis,
Yes.
French,
Yes?
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes.
It's defeated.
All right, public comments. So at this time, if there's anybody in the gallery that would like to stand and address council. Oh, I am so sorry. I'm sorry, sir. I skipped an item. Thank you for understanding. Future agenda items.
What happens when it's failed?
It's defeated.
It's what?
It fails, it has to be at least 4.
Future agenda items.
I have one. Barnes Park, we discussed, when I went out there and we talked to the individuals that came to talk about the dams, they did tell me that there was something that we could do to help get rid of those lily pads and stuff, so I'd like to put that on, and I'll get that information from you to bring it.
Yes, I have an idea regarding a future item. I would like to see either a ad hoc committee or at least a discussion regarding current crime in our area. And the reason, can I give an explanation or you just want me to just say? Yeah.
Just say future.
Okay, to address crime. And I've done a little research and I have a proposal by Governor Whitmer that you may be aware of. This was last year, but it's $30 million to invest in fund violence prevention and reduction initiatives in communities. Yeah.
Any other items? Yeah, Councilman Williams?
Okay. Can we look at teen employment over the summer? Maybe look at other communities and see what they're doing, see what's worked for them. Of course, we're at the end of the summer, but looking at budgeting and different things, I think it'd be some good to look at now for next year. Maybe we can look at partnerships or something that we can do to facilitate those type of programs here in the community.
Any other items? All right. Now we're on to public comment. If you just state your name and address, 3 minutes is yours.
Marion Grinson, 306 Exeter Street. Madam Mayor, I have a comment, question, all rolled into one. How does the city of Albion justify going around code enforcer putting stickers on homes and whatnot about the upkeep of the home, the cutting of the lawns and different things like that, when the city is not taking care of the properties they should be taking care of, as far as the maintenance of the lawns, the grass, different things like that? So that's a question. I just want to know, I'm failing you, as I stated last week, to the community. I was raised here, returned a couple years ago. I own property, I pay my taxes, and, I've had a notice put on one of my homes. I took care of it, but yet and still, the city isn't taking care of the properties that they should be taking care of, the maintaining of those properties. Where I live now, there are trees laying over in the river, bushes growing out into the street. You can't even drive down the street for running into bushes. If that's not the city's responsibility, then whose is it? Okay? And another thing is, I'm here, I don't know what the procedure is, I don't know what the rules of order are, but I'm hearing a lot of vague topics and discussions and these proposals and all that kind of stuff and citing what they are, but I don't have any idea of what you all are talking about, and I just don't understand. I really don't. For someone out here in the audience, I didn't get very much out of what this meeting conducted and passed and didn't pass today. I heard a lot of different things. I know I attended one meeting out of Victory Park, the band shed, about the dams, okay? And I stood there and I listened. I went to every station, and there were like 3 alternative choices, and the bottom line end result was the same for all 3, just presented in a different way. Thank you.
They're going to have some meetings where people will get to see what's going on with different things we just voted on, aren't they? Yeah.
That's what the last week's open house style was, to present that. So it's still, still a part of the data collection process. So this feasibility study has been going on for the past 3 months. So that was the public engagement portion of that, of the study. They will compile all of the information and data that they've collected over the past few months, and they will come before council to deliver a formal report on what the feasibility, or what it looks like to address the needs.
I mean, the
on the dams.
comprehensive plan and the other master plan, they'll be having meetings about those so that the community
We already did.
can know about those, can't they? Aren't they?
We did that in the engagement session when developing. We had several of those, but now that it's approved,
We can share that.
it's available now for dissemination to the public. You're more than welcome to share it with, if you have precinct meetings with your constituents as well.
Councilman Williams?
Yes, I'm not sure if it was stated, well, earlier in the meeting, but the agenda packets are up there on that, that table right there. That's the same information that we utilize, to give us a background of what takes place during the meeting. So I just wanted to make sure that that was said as well.
Any other?
What was that? So that we can't.
Anybody else have a comment? Yep. Well, nope, I'm sorry.
We're not
We have another.
following this.
I'll answer. Better put the timer up.
Okay, good evening, everyone, to the honorable body and to Mayor Snyder. Tracy Peters, 3494 Harvard Road, Detroit, Michigan. I understand recently you had an opportunity to meet our legislative body, and several of them came here, and you met, actually, my council member is Letitia Johnson, and she was actually on the front page of your paper, so I thought you may have talked to her, and I like to see that collaboration. It's really the reason I come here to school board meetings and to city council meetings, because, I am a fan of government of the people. And as representative and as noticed as a government can be, or excuse me, a city can be, I want to make sure I'm encouraging that. So I had a product to deliver to you that I actually reached out to you on your website a year ago, but I didn't follow up, and that's on me. I'm aware that your charter has enshrined language about an equity task force. And serving as a charter revision commissioner and just ending my term, this isn't about charter language, but this is about providing a document for you and your citizenry. It's already a public document, and it's available, State of Michigan, AG's office, probably that department. The 9 of us as charter revision commissioners really did a good job with equity. And I want to say some of these areas because these are things I hear at your meetings coming up. They weren't the fun policy things. They were from the perspective of a city that's been under emergency management, so they were highly fiscal and highly financial. And you may want to look at it just as you try to invent things, looking at the AMI, based on local residents as opposed to a tri-county area. notice, how to provide proper notice in a community when noticed is very costly. Responsible contracting, responsible ordinances for people that want to do business with your city. Our charter was amended to create a new OCFO during emergency management, and executive orders took away our legislative body ability to make policy. So in terms of, you guys, your body, using its discretion to make financial policy, I think it's good for that. The role of a land bank, that's big. And I would just say this, people, and I'm one of them, taxpayers who go, what are we doing getting our money's worth in government? I guess I'm here also because as a former public official, I do think it's my responsibility when I take an oath, when a good product is created, and there are no bad products in government, right? No matter what your political affiliation or idea is, we should be sharing with one another as government officials products so that taxpayers of our community and of our state see that governance that is inclusive of all of us, made by all of us, is an important concept. I don't want it to go away. And I just want to commend you for your work. I know you go above and beyond, clerk, council, everyone, and thank you for your work. All right, that's all.
Would anybody else in the gallery like to stand? Do we have anybody else? All right. City managers report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So a copy of my report was included in the packet. Just want to highlight a few different things. So I attended the 2022 MME Summer Workshop in Holland, Michigan, the week of July 19th. Very great conference. It was nice to network and connect with other city managers from across the state. We had very good sessions that we held over an array of topics that are happening in our community, one being on excess property in communities. So I think that tied in great with our study session earlier this evening. The Stouffer Plaza Site Master Plan. So the DDA established a subcommittee to work with Whiteman and Associates to develop a site master plan for Stouffer Plaza. The DDA, they would like to see renovations of that public gathering space. So that is right behind Superior Street. That's where our farmers market is held. So they will be working with the engineer firm to develop that master plan. They will be holding engagement sessions with our residents, because we would like to have our residents be able to weigh in on what they would like to see in that public space as well. So the kickoff meeting was held on Monday, July 25th. The Albion Dam's feasibility study, so the public open house for that feasibility study was held on Tuesday, July 26th at Victory Park. A lot of the members from the engineer firm, from DNR, Eagle, they all came out to present 3 different options on what possible solutions for our dams. As we've been having the progress meetings on this feasibility study, it's become aware that the maintenance for just to improve our dams in our community is not feasible. And when looking at the cost to do that, we are looking at a tune of $5 to $7 million just to do the proper maintenance to get them to the condition that they need to be. And we have to keep in mind that's the one-time cost to do the maintenance work, but then you also have to identify continuum funding for continual maintenance. So right now they are looking at other options to possibly remove the dams. So the public open house, that was still just a part of the data collection process for this study. This is not something that will happen within the next year or two. We are looking probably 5+ years out. There's a lot that goes into removing dams from the community, a lot of permitting, a lot of just designing of that project. So this is not something that's going to happen overnight, but it's very important that we start having those conversations now. I believe it was back in early 2020, we had a heavy storm here in our community to where we almost experienced a failure of the large dam in Victory Park. The city manager at that time called in our engineering firm as well as members from the state, everybody, all of our DPW, they were out bagging sand to put along the river and along that damway. So I hate to say that this is another can that's kind of been kicked down the road in addressing the issues with our dams, but it's time that we do something because we do not want to have a failure that would be even more costly to our community. So they are wrapping up that study. They will come and present that final report to City Council to make you all aware of what that study shows and possible options. And then it's ultimately up to the City Council to determine the course of action to take moving forward. But that's not, I just want to reiterate, because I know that was a lot of the concerns from the residents that did attend that public meeting, that this is something that was going to happen rather quickly within the next few years. And it's going to take some time to address this, but I think we're putting ourselves in a good position. The state of Michigan, they did recently announce that there will be grant programs available to, the big push right now is to remove dams in communities and return the riverways back to their natural flow and natural makeup. So there will be more grants available to assist in the cost. So by having this study done, we kind of set ourselves up in a good position to take advantage of some of the future grant dollars that will be coming. I met with the search firm Russell Reynolds and Associates through Albion College regarding the search for a new president on Wednesday, July 27th. So that is they're kind of just in their initial phase to get that process going. They had several meetings with members from the community, college staff, so I'm happy to see that process is underway. Just want to remind everyone that tomorrow is the August primary election. For the city, there is a proposed road millage in the amount of 6 mills over 3 years, and it will be on the ballot. We've had several town hall meetings to share what that would mean or the impact on our residents. I know we all hear complaints or concerns regarding the conditions of our roadways, and we do have a current millage in place, but however you look at the condition of our roads, it's not meeting the needs to address the conditions of our roads. Unfortunately, the PACER rating shows that our rating has decreased to a 2.7, which means majority of our roads here in our community are failing. So we have to identify some type of solution to really address the road. So there are other initiatives on that ballot, but just want to remind that tomorrow is election day. We have National Night Out coming up, which will be held actually tomorrow, Tuesday, August 2nd. So the Albion Department of Public Safety, they'll hold their annual National Night Out event from 6 to 8 p.m. in McIntosh Park. Please encourage any residents, families with small children, or just children of any ages to come out, interact with our public safety department. There, I know a lot of different activities for them, so it should be a good time. And then just follow up to some of the requests that council members requested at the previous, council meeting. So senior services, I believe Councilmember Williams asked about this. Handy Helper provides simple home maintenance to seniors' home. There are income limits to apply, but senior residents can contact Milestone Senior Services to request additional information and to see if they qualify for some of the available services. The number is 866-200-8877. And also the Fort Senior Center exists here in our community, and there are a lot of services and resources available through that center. So if you know any residents who may need additional help or just looking to interact with senior residents, encourage them to attend the Fort Senior Center, and it's located at 101 North Albion Street, right across, it's in the Calhoun County Human Services Building, right across from Holland Park. And there are also many other services available for senior residents through the Calhoun County Senior Millage. So I did include a link to that to check out the different resources available. I happen to see County Commissioner Tompkins in the audience, and I believe he serves on that Senior Millage Allocation Committee. He is the chair for that. So they are services available to seniors age 16 and over. So encourage any senior residents to take a look at what programs are offered through that. And then I believe Councilmember Davis, you asked for lead resources or lead programs. So the City of Battle Creek, they work with local partners to implement lead programs throughout Calhoun County. The Lead Safe program is a lead abatement grant funded program funded by Michigan's Children's Health Insurance Program, or CHIP, and it's administered in partnership with Community Action. There's also another grant program, the Lead Hazard Control Program. It's funded by the Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, and it's administered in partnership with Neighborhoods, Inc. of Battle Creek. So more information about the Calhoun County-wide lead programming can be found visiting Get the Lead Out, or you can contact Shauna Gamble. She is the lead grant coordinator, and her number is 269-966-3465. I just met with, she dropped off resources. There are flyers and more information on how to access those programs at the podium. So I just encourage anyone, if you know of any residents who could utilize lead assistance program, please either contact them to apply through the website or contact Ms. Gamble directly. She would be happy to get them connected and going through that program.
Will she come to make a?
Yes, I can ask if she would come to make a formal presentation.
Then other people who are not here can
Yep.
hear her.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
And that is all that is in my manager's report. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for our city manager?
I do. So can you explain to the audience where they can receive the information, like this packet and any other information, how they can sign up? Because each precinct, I'm understanding, they don't send out a newsletter.
Oh,
And I'm
okay.
quite sure that will answer some of his questions of like, how can he get to understand what we're talking about today?
Yeah.
Because he could have went on that. and
Yep.
did that, but I'll let you explain it too.
Yes, thank you, Councilmember Jackson. So all our packets for our meeting, they are published on the city's website. You can also connect with the city clerk, and you can be added to our email distribution list. So anytime the meeting packet is published, it automatically is sent out to your email, so you have a copy of that. But I would encourage you to check out the website because they are there as well. Or if you would like a hard copy, I'm sure if you stop down, you can either stop in the city manager's office or the clerk's office, and we'd be happy to provide you with the packet for the upcoming meeting.
It's a lot of reading, so you know what you're asking for.
Any other questions for City Manager Slater? Yes, Councilman Reed?
Okay, how can we, okay, let me say it this way. I have lots of people that have called and told me about tree limbs hanging down over the sidewalk to where when you walk down the sidewalk, you walk into them, and different things. Every time I ask about how do you get the tree limbs cut, they said we don't have a bucket truck. How do we go about getting a bucket truck?
Yeah, so we've actually started our budget process for next year. A part of that process, I have developed forms to give to all of our departments, capital improvement forms, so they would include any large equipment purchase or that they need within their department, or any capital improvement projects that they know are coming, so that they were actually due back to me last Friday, so I've started to collect them. I have received one from our DPW director, and a bucket truck is listed. We know, just based off the conversation we've had here at City Council, that is a priority or a need in our community. It just comes down to having funding available to purchase that equipment. So we are moving forward, and when developing the next fiscal year budget, we are going to work in some of those requests to purchase some of the large equipment. But we are aware, and we are working to identify funding to make that purchase.
Okay, because to be a tree city, we got a lot of trees falling and limbs breaking off and half trees breaking off. So we need to be prepared to be able to do something about that.
Councilman French?
City Manager Snyder, do we or do we no longer have a contract with Rusty Four Farms to handle that?
We do. However, I don't know if Director Miller's back. I know we have expensed majority of
Okay.
what has been budgeted for
Okay.
the year.
Okay.
But having proper equipment
Sure.
that our staff could utilize would cut down
Sure.
That's
and those contract costs. So we're trying to kind of figure out a solution to.
Okay, thank you.
But if you have tree issues, or if residents have tree issues, please contact Bonnie Edmonds. She is the administrative assistant for our DPW. She will add it to the list or pass it on to Superintendent O'Brien. They will come out and assess the tree issue and rank it on a scale. And once we have funds available, or if there are funds available, we will
Sure.
see that it gets addressed.
Council member comments? Council member Councilman French?
Sure. I have a question for those council people who voted against my resolution to support requests from the Albion Trust. If I resubmit a resolution and pick different parks, will I get a yes vote?
Can we have some type of study session or something over what you might pick and why?
I will take input from the council.
I mean, because, I'll say, whoever can speak, but I'm quite sure there's other stuff that we could use that money for, because we have individuals that are here right now concerned about all the different vegetation that's out there. And that's growing up close to their yards and everything. And they don't want this or that to happen. And so I think some of the $200,000 or whatever you're asking us to grant for parks, again, should be evaluated and looked at before we say yes to that.
And there are also requirements, though, when requesting funds from the Albion Trust, they can only go towards specific projects. So they may not necessarily go to
That might be so, but we need to look.
some of the things. And I just wanted to reiterate that that request was getting us that much closer to accomplish $4 million of improvements here in our community. Through the DeNicola donation that was given by the DeNicola family, they have allocated $1 million up front, which is being utilized to put in the splash pad, pavilion, and play area in McIntosh Park. And then they set a requirement for us to raise $2 million, and they would match an additional $1 million, which would be a total of $4 million to go towards 13 different projects, which are included in all park spaces here in our community. I don't believe we've had that level of investment in our park spaces. And so that just kind of put us back from being one step closer to accomplishing that match and accomplishing projects that have been identified and taking advantage of a wonderful gift that's been given to the city of Albion by a resident in the honor of his parents along with his in-laws. So
I agree with that, but I still say Ketchum Field, these that are mentioned are not the best places to invest in. So that's just me.
So,
Would you like to go ahead again? We'll go right in.
no, I just want to ask, are you saying that if I put McIntosh Park, I mean, you've told me I shouldn't put Victory and Ketchum, that's fine. So what parks should I put? McIntosh?
I think we should look at McCullough,
McAuliffe?
because McIntosh is where they've got the water park.
Yeah.
So it does not need to be there.
Right.
But McCullough Park and Victory, they used to have a T-ball field there
And Victory?
at Victory.
Okay.
I'll show you.
No, I know, that I live there, so. Thank you.
Any other council member comments? So my only comment would be to reiterate what our city manager had said in her report in regards to getting out to vote tomorrow. There are some significant issues on the ballot, and would just highly encourage everybody to make time in their day tomorrow to get to the polls, or to have an absentee ballot. Make sure that those get turned in. There's a drop box out front, because as we know, every vote matters. Yes.
May I ask the city manager if she can forward to us what that you were just talking about, the monies, how it can be used, which is
for the Albion Trust?
Albion Trust, yeah.
Attorney Hartness.
I can pretty much answer that for you right now. I mean, what the trust spells out is basically to the extent that they're not needed for Maple Grove, they can be used for other capital improvements in the city, but basically it has to be a capital improvement. The way that the actual trust reads is it says, to the extent that they're not needed for Maple Grove, for the purposes of acquiring, furnishing, equipping, owning, improving, enlarging, operating, and maintaining buildings, parking lots, or structures, recreational facilities, stadiums, and the necessary site or sites therefore, together with the pertinent properties and facilities necessary for the effective use thereof. So basically, capital improvements within the city.
Can you forward that to me?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other council member comments?
one.
Yes.
So we did go to the senior fork today, and that honoring of Bob Hope was nice. 104 years old, and they awarded him a nice quilt that was handmade, not by just one person, but by many people. And so that was good to be able to do that. And also on the other side, I seen our other centenarian, which was Dr. Curtis. He was over there exercising. So it was real good to see both of those young men that have the wrong birth dates out and about at 104 and 100 years old. So Bob Holt is 104 years old, and he is the oldest individual male in Calhoun County. So something to be excited about.
And he's honored on the VA bill.
He's already on the VA board, and I understand there's more than one board. I thought it was only one, which was in the corner of Kendall and Dickman in Battle Creek, but they said there's more than one. So there might be some in some other cities as well. Correct.
The motion to adjourn.
So move.
Excuse the phone.
Something.
What?
Gary.
Gary, yep. Come on up.
Thank you. I'm so sorry, I was a bit tardy tonight, my apologies. Good evening, folks. Gary Tompkins, your Calhoun County Commissioner. I'll be real brief tonight because I know you guys want to get out of here. It's actually still light out. All right, well, tomorrow's the big day. You're right, tomorrow is the big day. And you know, over the past 6 years, I've had the honor and privilege of representing everybody in the 7th District, and especially the city of Albion, because obviously it's my dad's hometown. He graduated from here. He worked at Hayes Albion for 30 years. He grew up on Dalrymple Street, right across from Dalrymple School. A lot of roots here in Albion. I mean, my family settled here in 1860. It was 6 generations, so we've been in this side of the county for a long time. And you know, I look back upon the last 6 years, and I look at things like Precinct 1 or Precinct 3 or Precinct 4 or 5, whenever they had a town hall meeting, I was there. Because it's important to make sure that I support you folks in any way I can, and if there's questions that come up, I can help. You know, interesting enough, this morning or today when we had the Bob Holt presentation for the Quilts of Valor, Mrs. Holt came up to me, and it means a lot to me when people say things to me, because I'm not in it just for the kick of it. I'm in it to help people each and every day, no matter who they are, where they are, or what they're doing. And she looked at me and she said, you know, Gary, Republican or Democrat, you're great. And it meant a lot to me, because that's what it's all about for me. It isn't about all that other stuff. It's about whoever calls me, I'm there to help you in any way I can, and that's what the bottom line is. Mm-hmm. So I will say, in those 6 years, I brought a voice to Albion after a number of years of not having a voice at the county level. So we're finally there. I brought resources to the city of Albion. As a matter of fact, I had a young lady, her elderly parent has some need for minor home repair today. So I reached out and already took care of that this morning, just at 8 o'clock, first thing this morning, to do that. But those are the kind of things that I'm all about, is helping people any way I can, and making sure that Albion still has a voice going forward. So when the mayor says that tomorrow is a consequential election, it truly is a consequential election, certainly for the city of Albion on a number of scale, but certainly at the county commission level as well. And I would certainly appreciate your guys' support tomorrow, so that we continue doing great things for the city of Albion and for the east side of Calhoun County. So with that being said, see, I did pretty good tonight. Now, people are very short tonight. But thank you, folks. Hope we get to continue more good stuff going on with the city of Albion. Thank you, folks, very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
We have a motion to excuse Councilwoman Lawler.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned, 8:05 PM.